What would you have to say to like a young guy? He's like 18, fresh out of high school, and he wants to get into real estate. What type of advice would you give him?
I would say pick an...
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Bros Think Big podcast. This is the show where we talk about the special and yet complicated ideas of self-improvement. Tune in and join us as we become the best versions of ourselves, so you guys can too. Yeah, him too. As you can notice, we're in a different setting today. That's because of our friend, Mr. Joe Bograd over here.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for taking your time, coming
thank you
on,
for having us,
everything.
Joe.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. What are we going to be talking about today, guys? Who wants to start it off? Josh?
Well, I first want to share it. He is actually the man who sold our own house,
Yes.
which is actually pretty
You
funny and
and I think
ironic.
were like 2, right?
Yeah.
You were 2 or 3 years
I
old?
was 5.
Around that.
I was
5.
5.
Joe,
Yeah, I
make
actually
sure
did
you're talking to the mic.
So 15 years ago.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I was
wow.
thinking about it. It was 08.
Oh wait, yeah, that's when the market
Yeah,
crashed. And,
really?
yeah.
That's. I was trying to put the puzzle pieces together. I was so confused.
I can tell you, 08 was when the market crashed, and that's when I think
Yeah.
that's when the cold debacle began. But I remember your parents vividly and your grandfather. You were a lot smaller. So, I didn't recognize you when I saw you a few weeks ago. So
I can't blame you. I can't blame you.
you're
I
moving
was
up.
a chubby kid.
Yes,
I was a
yeah.
chubby kid. But
small
I
world.
mean, let's start off with just saying, first of all, as a real estate agent, what I heard, I don't know if this is correct, but 1 in 5 men have a real estate license. Can
1
you
in 5
confirm?
men?
Yeah.
I didn't
Is that
know.
true?
I didn't hear that.
I said the same
No.
thing, man.
It's
I said
surprising.
that is a horrible
I mean,
statistic, man.
Maybe 1 in 5 men.
They have the license. That doesn't mean they are necessarily an
You
agent.
saw in Florida, I think that would be an accurate factoid because I think in Florida everybody has a real estate license, whether it's a girl or a guy.
Yeah.
I remember I talked to has a license down there, but here I don't know. I never heard that. That could be the case. I mean, right now with the market being what it is, because it's shifted a bit, I think a lot of people are getting out of the business. They're putting the license in escrow. But I think with the market being as crazy as it was the last couple of years, maybe people decided to get a real estate license because they wanted to take their chance as being a realtor. But I never heard. I'm going to look into that today.
The reason why I even wanted to bring that up is for you to be as successful as you are in such a saturated market is quite impressive.
Well, thank
so
you.
I really want to delve into what differentiates you amongst the others. There's got to be something.
I think what differentiates us as a team and me as an individual from other agents, brokers, office. I think I've been doing it 23 years now. My father's been doing it 40 plus years. He got me into it. But I think I think it's all about the marketing. I think I learned at a very, not young age, but new to the career, new into real estate, that we need to be different than the rest of the competition. Everybody does the same thing. If you're going to be the typical realtor that gets a listing, if they're lucky enough to get one, put in the market, MLS, and wait for something to sell it, then you're going to be waiting. You're just going to be just your regular Joe Schmo realtor. But in this industry, because it's so saturated, you need to think outside the box. So I remember when I got into the business back in 01, I felt my dad had a huge presence in the Russian community that I should focus on the Russian clientele. I'm not Russian. I mean, I was born here. I speak Russian, but that was the way. So I decided to start advertising in Russian newspapers, and I felt that would be the good way. But I'm not my dad. My dad's not me. He taught me a lot, but I needed to, do my own thing. So after like 6 months of, doing the Russian newspaper, I realized that it was not the way to go. I needed to, differentiate myself from, other agents and from my dad because like I said, I'm me. So I started marketing myself way back when as a independent agent, but I started using different tools like instead of the Russian newspaper, magazines, real estate magazines like Homes and Living back then, and doing postcards and old school farming and cold calling. And I would mention, obviously my dad had a big name, not only in the Russian community, but, in this area. So I would say, oh, you're Bograd. Oh, we know your dad's name, or we know the name. So I kind of used it for my advantage. So that being said, I think to answer your question, I think we have to think outside the box. In order to be successful in this industry, with all the competition, with all the saturation, you need to do what others don't do. And I think that's what makes us different.
That was exactly going to be my question. I was going to ask, would you say that's one of the most important traits you need to be the top 1% of your field?
I think you need to always move with the times. You need to be ahead of the times. And I think if you want to be successful in anything you do, whether it's real estate or as an attorney or a physician or, run any type of business, you need to set yourself apart from the competition. And I think that's what we've done. And I'm always trying to do so. Like I think we talked about this when I had that we had the discussion at Penn State a few weeks ago with Roman and Lawrence, you can't get complacent. Even though we've achieved amazing, feats in the last, 23 years of real estate, I'm never going to get comfortable. Like we're doing well, and I want to continue doing well, and I want the team to do well, but I'm never going to kind of take our foot off the pedal. And that's what I think also differentiates us from the saturated market.
Yeah, and when you said you need to move the times, were you saying that you need to be able to adjust in any given circumstance?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you '08 as an example. '08 hit, I had just had my twins that are 15 now, and I was literally, shitting my pants. I didn't know what to have. The market was shifting. The whole market crashed, the stock market crashed, the mortgage crisis. I didn't think I was going to get out of it. I just had twin babies that I have to take care of. I have a big house, I have a mortgage, I have expenses, and now I have to reach. Am I looking into a different career? What am I going to do? And I needed to make a decision. Am I going all in, or am I going to sit there and kind of tread lightly and see what happens? And I went all in. That's when I started going heavy into social media. That's when I got the billboards. That's when I started doing heavy duty marketing. That's when I went pretty much all balls to the wall in with my money of what we achieved, and I started advertising and marketing even more so. So when we got through this troubling time, we were able to be one of the only few still standing. Because a lot of the agents that were in the business back in '05, '06, '07, when the market was doing amazing, got out of it in '08 because they couldn't withstand the pressures and the changing market.
It sounds like the epitome of high risk, high reward.
Yes,
go all in and then look at where it brought you.
Yeah, and that's what's happening now. Right now, there's been a shift from what the market was doing from post-COVID until now. Anybody could have been an agent, and that's what you were saying before. All the saturated market. But now I'm seeing a lot of agents out of the business that were in the business even 6 months ago because it's changed. You have to grind now. I talked to Roman and I talked to other friends and clients in similar businesses, and it's a grind. Like before, it was, getting calls, put the house in the market, you have 3-4 offers above asking price. You're like, it's 1, 2, 3. Now, getting listings is tough because there's no inventory and people don't want to sell because they have nowhere to go, or they have a great interest rate from last year or 2 years ago. They don't want to lose 2.5%, 3% to go to 7 or 8%, so they don't want to sell. So how do you entice a seller to sell when there's no inventory? So you need to figure out a different approach to get sellers, to get buyers to pick up clients. And that's the hard part right now.
Yeah, so it's really just keeping your head up and then working on it, grinding.
You need a lot of old school stuff. Like I did some cold calling like a few weeks ago, and I'm sure you watch my videos or not, but sometimes you need to you have to start doing some old school stuff, some old school marketing. Again, we have a TV commercial. Again, going all in. I just put out a commercial that went live on Monday Night Football 2 weeks ago. Like that's us going all in. Nobody does it. It's going to cost me a pretty penny, but in order for us to be at our level, if not better, we need to stand, ahead of the competition, and that's what we're doing.
I'm assuming that was for the Eagles game?
That was for the Eagles. That was
great marketing strategy.
Yes, thank you.
Oh yeah, I saw the video. It was actually
that was the beginning of us getting into it. Now it's every day. Like that was the opening premiere night. But now, if you're going to be watching MSNBC, Fox News, CNN, HGTV, Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, any sports on local cable, you'll be seeing us.
Yeah.
And we're going to change a commercial. We're going to be changing it up. We're going to involve the team, next few commercials. So it's a trial. We're going to see how it does for the next 6 months to a year. And if it's going to do well, we're going to continue. We're going to start doing it in Jersey. We'll do it in Florida. And hopefully, it'll work. Hopefully, we'll see.
Yeah. I know analytics is everything when it comes to that, right?
Especially now.
Yeah.
You need to get ROI. You need to make sure what you're doing in regards to marketing and what you guys are doing with your podcast.
How do you with the
Commercial?
a commercial? How do you know if it's working or not? Do you?
So there
every
was a
client,
QR code that was on the commercial that's why we have a call to action. So we're monitoring right now to see the premiere did really well, but it was only the actual commercial spot is beginning tonight, December 1st. That 2 weeks ago was just basically, I wanted to do Monday Night Football to get that wow factor, which we got. And then we did a couple games like Flyers and Sixers this past week just to kind of make sure we stayed relevant rather. And then today is when the whole big thing. So we're going to have 400 to 700 commercials a month going starting tonight. So you'll start seeing us, I hope. So,
400 minimum.
400
Crazy.
minimum. Yeah, that's
In
going to be.
terms of how many times it's aired, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there's going to be 30-second spots, and then there's going to be 15-second fillers in between as well that we have as well. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm hoping that this will obviously get people's attention, that when they want to sell, whether it's now or in the spring, to call us to sell, and if they want to buy, they'll call us as well.
So what I'm getting is you really do specialize in marketing a lot, and you're kind of just going all in, trying to get attention.
I think what separates us from the competition is that everybody markets now. Everybody's doing these posts on Facebook and social media. Everybody's starting to do these TikToks. Everybody's doing podcasts. Content creation.
Yeah.
We're trying to do things differently. Like I have Mayank, who's with me every day for 9 hours a day or 8 hours a day, and he basically films everything that happens. And if he's not with me, I have a GoPro on my dash that films it. I send it to him, and he edits it. So there's pretty much 24/7 content around me and the team and what goes on behind the scenes. And I think we've grown our subscriber base, I think, on YouTube to like 26,000. Yeah, in the last
I'm telling you, it's growing fast.
It's growing fast. So obviously we're hoping to get 50,000 by the end of the year. We'll see if we get to it. And hopefully by, middle of next year, I want to be at 100,000. And we're getting a lot of business from it. A lot of realtors are reaching out to want to maybe do business together, collaborate, come work for me. That's how the two young ladies that work for me in Florida, they reached out to me through Instagram. Really? And that's how I hired them. The two gentlemen that work for me in Jersey through Instagram. A couple listings that I just got in Tampa, Fort Lauderdale through social media. So I'm not going to divulge everything, but at the end of the day, I think if you're consistent with what you're doing, it definitely will reap the benefits. It just, problem people have is consistency. They we want to do it, and they try it for like a day or a week or 2 weeks, and then it fizzles out because they forget or they don't think it's bringing them in any type of ROI. It's like, I'm not going to spend any time doing it.
That's like why I think New Year's resolutions are bullshit. Nobody ever sticks to them.
No, I mean, I think if you...
It's a 1 week thing or a 1 day thing.
Yeah, it 100% is. And that's what, listen, I go to Aruba every year for New Year's. Our family goes for the past literally 28 years. We only missed 1 year, when my twins were born. And we go to Aruba from like the 19th until like the first week of January. It's my dad's birthday, so we celebrated there. But literally, I have like my parents, my in-laws, my sisters, my sister-in-laws, my whole family goes. But when I'm there, I kind of recharge, and I literally, as soon as the first hits, my wife will say the same thing. I'm a different person. I'm like I'm relaxed and I'm enjoying it. The first hits, I'm like on. It's all business, and that's how you have to take on every year. Like I'm already preparing for next year. We're doing a lot of the TV commercial is. Realistically for next year, that's going to be our big push for 24. Again, what we try to do with the team is to always do things that nobody else does. The billboards we started, nobody else did it. And still, for the most part, there's been a few agents that have tried, but they want to see an immediate, response. Like, why is nobody calling me? I didn't have anybody call me for the first 3-4 years. They said, I saw your billboard, I want to sell my house. It happened twice, I think, in the whole entire 10 years that I've had these billboards. People are it's just branding, and that's what people don't understand. You can't just do one thing, you have to do a mess of different things. And it costs money. So, you can start small by doing a billboard or a commercial spot or these LED TVs that drive around, do something, and then build on that. And that's one thing that people, they want immediate results, and it doesn't work this way. I've been doing this for 23 years, and I went through a lot of, ups and downs, and this is what's working, and I'm going to continue to roll with the punches, and hopefully it'll continue to go in the upswing.
I love that.
Yeah,
I'm a marketer, so I kind of know
you guys
this
all
stuff.
are. I can see. The fact that you're doing this.
I do marketing outside of this, but there's two things, two facts. 99% of products we buy are from people we know or from things we know. Just to show you how valuable branding is. Number two, it takes a regular person 7 to 8 times to see a brand before they actually buy it. Yeah. That's why what a lot of people do is they post 10 pieces of content and think, nothing's happening right now. And they're done. Yeah. That's why I love how you're putting 400, not 10, not 20 commercials, 400, 700. When someone sees you all the fucking time, the first time, I promise you, they're just going, okay.
There he is.
Then they see you again.
I like to make a splash. I like the wow factor. That's why we have we have the billboards at 95 on the Turnpike over here in Jacksonville and Street Road. The TV commercials, the signage. I mean, the events that we do. I mean, I want people, and that's what I try to instill in the team. When they think about real estate, whether it's buying, selling, renting, whatever the case is, it should only be our name. It should only be the Bograd team. I don't want any. That should be like common. It should be that it should just hit and stick, and that's what I'm trying to achieve. Not just for me, but for the team as well.
So besides being able to think outside the box, where do you think the specialization in marketing comes from? What other traits, characteristics?
The specializations of marketing. Where does it come from?
Like I'm saying, like, why do you think you're so good at marketing?
I don't think I'm so good. I just think I'm consistent. I think consistency is where it's at. I don't think I'm so. I don't think I do anything that's so outside the box. I think I have a very talented videographer. I think Mike is very good. I hired him actually a year ago this month, and literally it was an Indeed ad. He came. I met with him right here, and he was not that he was new to being a videographer, but he was new to what I was trying to achieve. I was trying to achieve a day in the life. But we kind of slowly, we had another Video City Productions, John Sherman. His company was kind of consulting, which they still do once a week. So he was kind of consulting us in the direction we wanted to go. And I think having my own kind of be taught or kind of geared in the right direction, him and me together, and he sees what I was trying to achieve, he caught on. And it turned into like a day in the life. Originally we were trying to do stories, like a day in the life, but we were trying to make an artificial story. I think the plan originally was to do like storylines and try to like make like us to be actors. And then I realized I'm not an actor. I can't sit here and you give me a script and I'm going to regurgitate it. I want, and the more we started seeing the response from the actual like everyday reels, we saw a huge response, and that was a huge uptick. And there was a couple reels in the very beginning that went viral back in February, January of last year, 2 million, 3 million, 5 million views. And I realized that people don't want to give two fucks about me, telling you about how this story unfolded. They want to see me negotiating with you on $1 million transaction. Or if the guy's like, I'll take 650, and I go, let me try it 6. Let's see what I can do. And they see how I negotiate with the other agent, and I'm looking out to get the best deal for my client. That's what they want to see. They want to see the banter with me and Loretta. They want to see what goes on with me and my wife, or with my kids, or me and my assistant, how we argue or yell, or they want to see the real deal. They don't care what goes on. They don't care this artificial like stage bullshit. And I think that's what makes us different. Stand out against.
You're authentic.
We're authentic, exactly. We're not. It's organic. We're authentic, whatever you want to call it. And I think that's what helped our brand continue to grow.
I was gonna say your shorts are hilarious.
You like the shorts?
They're actually like
Your
really
content in general, I love.
pretty good.
And I appreciate that, guys. I think that's what people want to see. They want to see what goes on. Like I actually look forward. Like Ryan sends me a text once a week. This is what the short form is going to be for the upcoming week. Take a look at it, make sure. And sometimes I say, you got to take this one out, or tweak it, or change this guy's voice, or because sometimes my clients watch it, so they realize it's them, and they don't like something. I mean, one of my clients called me and said, Joe, I don't like you making fun of me. I wasn't making fun of him, but in reality, it was more of a negotiation that he caught wind of it. So I have to kind of screen everything. For the most part, a little bit, most of it's good, but every so often it gets a little bit off the cuff, and you got to be careful. But people want to see it. I think people want to see it. Some people think it's too raunchy. Some people make comments that it's staged, that it's like, oh, good acting. But it's the real deal. There's no acting. There's no, this is what you see is what you get.
Yeah, and people always say that stuff. I mean, you're not going to get everyone to like you, but
I can care less.
It's good. I hope so. I hope so.
Have you seen your comments?
Oh, my comments are the best. I mean, my nephew, actually, when I see him like once every couple of weeks when we're at a family function, say, Joe, I actually sit there in the bathroom every morning and I watch all the TikTok and YouTube comments of people making fun of or making comments, some good, some bad. Most bad. But I mean, listen, that's what people, not everybody's gonna love you or hate you.
People love negativity nowadays.
Yeah.
That's what grows.
So, I mean, they told me that there's a way to actually sit there and respond live on TikTok. I haven't done it yet, but I think I'm gonna start doing it to respond to each one of the comments.
What is it?
How's it gonna go?
That would be a good idea.
Live format, you can actually respond to them. You can actually respond to the comments like in a video. Like if somebody makes a negative comment towards you.
You can see the comment, you respond.
Oh yeah, I can actually comment to that.
You should do it live.
I might do that. I mean, there's a lot we want to do. It's just we have to have the time to do it. So maybe next year in our off time in January, things a little bit slower, we'll take some time and start doing that.
I'm surprised. Do you think that's worth it? I mean, by all means, I feel like I wouldn't even waste my time with these people. Like, for someone to drop a hate comment or something.
I mean, not to get into conflict or argument, but just to give them a snood, response in a smart way.
Yeah,
Not to
yeah.
get into altercation. I'm not looking to fuck with
And that response is gonna like
Correct.
get
because that's
so
what-
much more
and
attention.
Yeah, when people like there was one video where they thought the one video that went viral was me in the driveway negotiating a deal. My client walked in there, he lost a few bids, and the asking price for this house was I think $1,980,000. So I'm like, what do you want to do? He's like, I'll go up to $1,150,000. And I go, okay, fine. So the next scene, after I'm calling the realtor, and I know Makani, what do we got to do to get the deal done? She's like, well, you tell me. I'm like, listen, $1,100,000 does it? So I already went up to $1,100,000, but he told me he would go up to $1,150,000. So she's like, I think so, get it in writing. I got it done at $1,100,000. So the comments, and this is the one that went to $1,500,000, they thought I pocketed the difference, the $150,000. That's people's that's what. Oh, he pocketed $150,000. That's what he's not saving his client anything. Other people thought, why did you start at $1 million? Why didn't you start at $1 million? Why did you start at $1,100,000? Why didn't you go to $1 million first? Why didn't you start at full price? Why didn't you start at $950,000? They didn't understand the negotiation it was in a bidding war. A lot of deals were being lost. I went in with what my gut was, $1,100,000 as a good place to be. Let's get it done. Not let the house sit in the market anymore. She got $110,000 over ask. She should be happy. She was happy. As this deal, the seller was happy. The buyer was happy. I got that deal done. But everybody interprets what happened in a different way. I pocket the difference. Oh, I fucked the buyer. I fucked the seller. Who knows what it was? In reality, the seller saw that video. No bullshit. She saw the video. She called the realtor. Was very upset that basically she thought her realtor dropped the ball, that I took advantage of the realtor, that I negotiated the deal to a point that I screwed the seller. In reality, I don't work for the seller. I was working for the buyer. Mm-hmm. And I did not screw the seller. She still got $110,000 over asking price. But in her eyes, she left $150,000 on the table that I was able to negotiate for my buyer. So I got an amazing deal for my buyer. The seller thought she got screwed, and she actually started making threats to me, take the video down.
Wow.
Yeah, so I had to call my attorney. My attorney's like, you don't take anything down. Like, you didn't mention her name, the address, the property, anything. It was a discussion. And she's not even her voice isn't even played there. So they actually filed a complaint against me. Somebody came out, met with me. I showed them the video. They said it's fine. I was out of it. But
shut it down real quick.
People are haters. Some
They
people
are.
are very receptive, and some people are not. So
that's the thing with like short form content. There's like so much context. It's like not there.
Yeah.
And so like they'll literally they'll watch it and it's like you didn't mean that. Like they interpret it such a wrong way. Like we've had so many like comments like on our short form
dude, there's
content.
one of you, which is fucking crazy.
Yeah, and it's like it's not what like the actual video is about, and they flip it, and it's like
you can interpret that short-term content any which way you want to. So that's why when we're going through the video, I'm like, listen, I kind of tell Mike, I'm like, make sure you cut this, make sure you omit this, and then when he sends it to me, I'm like, you got to take this out. But for the most part, 90% of the time, I don't ask him to take anything out. He's pretty good about what I want filmed and vice versa because he knows me at this point. It's been a year. He knows
chemistry.
Yeah, we have a good chemistry. We don't sit there and chit chat on the phone every night, but he knows what I want, and I know what he wants. And right now, he's doing a great job with how he's editing, and we have a couple ideas on how we're going to start doing more long form content. Because right now, in order from what I understand, for the algorithm to work for YouTube, you need to have more long term format. We're building our subscriber base with the short term, but in order to get more followers that are actually going to spend time and watch the actual videos, it needs to be more longer form. So that's what we're focusing on.
So you really put a lot of trust in your team.
Yeah, we do.
Is that why you think you're successful as you are right now?
I think that you have to trust your team. Like I trust my assistant, wholeheartedly with everything. I know she's there to help me, and if I need her on a weekend, she's there. She's not happy about it. Like I need an offer, she'll write it no matter what. She'll drop everything for me. I know I can rely on her anytime. I know I can rely on Mayank. I know I can rely on my team, Loretta, Alina, Alinda, all the individuals in my team, I know that I can rely on them. Listen, I've had some growing pains. I've had some members of the team join me, leave me, think they can do their own thing. Some have come back. Some are doing well, some are not doing well. So you have to, this business, in any business, people think they can do as good as you, better than you, and try it. People think it's very easy. That sales in general, it's a very cutthroat, difficult business. And if you can't get complacent with it. You need to constantly always be on. Like sometimes, even I'm away in Florida, I'm away on vacation, and I get a little bit comfortable. Right away, I see it. I can't let my guard down because there's other agents out there that are chomping at the bit to do what we're doing, and I'm not going to let that happen.
Can't put a price
Yeah.
tag on hunger.
One of my favorite song lyrics actually is by The Weeknd, and it says, "These motherfuckers think they're so good and that they can replace me, then do it already." Like,
Well,
it's these people like they're saying that they can be as good as you, well, why the fuck are you not in
They
it? It
very
makes no
well
sense.
may be at some point. I mean, there were certain agents that I really looked up to. My dad and other agents in the industry, you know, when I got into it, 01, 02, I wanted to be at the level of some of these agents were. And we've surpassed them 10 times. But I didn't know that going in. I came in there, this like wet behind the ears kid. I learned the title business. I was doing mortgages, and I got into real estate. And I luckily got into it when the market was on an uptick. And I started, you know, I got in lucky, and I had a lot of friends that started buying, and you know, it kind of worked out. But I've been through a lot of shit with ups and downs. But I think that's what helped us elevate our game to where we are today.
That's great.
So, yeah.
What would you say? What is your biggest failure like throughout your journey of this business or
My biggest
anything?
failure? I think not getting. I wish I would have got my license in Florida sooner. I just got my license in Florida last year, and I think I left a lot of potential on the table because right now I've been doing this in Florida for maybe a year now, and I totally we're killing it. For being in the market only a few months now, we're doing really, really well. I feel like if I got into the business maybe 5-6 years ago when I originally started studying for the test, and I didn't get it, and I started taking the course I think 5 or 6 years ago, maybe even 7 years ago. I wish I would have took it more seriously because I think I'd probably be doing a lot more business in Florida. I might even be there full time and spending more time there than here. But I got time, thank God, and you know I'm only 45, so I want to be back and forth. So that's what I'm doing. I was doing Florida, PA, and Jersey. That's our plan for the next foreseeable future.
My question about Florida: when you said that you think almost 1 in 5 people in Florida have a real estate agent, do you think that's why like Florida is really successful?
No, I think in Florida people go there like the young population. Listen, it's good-looking women, good-looking guys. Everybody's there. They're partying. It's very expensive to live there. So a lot of these guys are like waiters or waitresses, or they work somewhere. And then on the side, they think they can sell a house or two and make a couple commission checks that'll take them through the year. And some of them get lucky. If you're a good-looking girl, and you have a good head on your shoulders, and you know how to sell the product and sell yourself,
yeah,
you can do really well. And eventually, that's how some of these individuals start, and then they make it a full-time career. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I wish I would have started in Florida. I wish 10 years ago I started in Florida. I would be at a different level, I think, because the price points there, are say $1 million to $2 million median, where here they're like $500,000 to $600,000.
I was gonna say Florida's a whole nother level than it is in
Philly.
Philly.
Here at 5 or 6, 100,000, and you're doing a few deals there at $2-3 million a pop.
Right.
It's a whole different lifestyle. But your cost of living is also more expensive, so it kind of evens out.
Have you sold at West Point?
What's that?
I think it's West Point or West Palm. I don't know.
Have I sold?
West Palm Beach is a
West
thing.
Palm.
That's what you're talking. I don't know about a West Palm.
Have I sold any houses there?
Yeah.
I sold one house there.
Yeah, that's.
But I mean, there's some. I mean, I just listed a house yesterday. I was listed with another realtor for 6 months, and her contract wasn't up yet. And a friend of mine here referred me to the seller, and she wasn't happy with the realtor. So literally, me and another realtor in Florida were like at each other's throat. But she took the listing from her and gave it to me. So yesterday, I listed a house for $4.5 million. It's like 20 minutes from Orlando, but it's a magnificent house, like 20,000 square feet. It's like 10 bedrooms, 14 bathrooms. It's a compound. So we're actually flying in Tuesday with Mayank, and we're going to video all day. We're going to do an open house. The team's going to come out there. We're going to do a whole day of content, and I'm going to fly back.
That's great.
Yeah.
You're really trying to.
What's it like dealing with like all these big numbers? Because like a lot of people would be like kind of like looked at and be like kind of like intimidated by it.
I'm still intimidated by it. I'm not. Listen, I walk into a house and I'm like a little girl. I'm like, oh my god, because sometimes listen, you can't be. I don't care how much money you have. When you walk into these houses that are 5, 10, 15, 20 million, it definitely gets your attention. I mean, it's something you achieve. Like I'm looking at these people. Look, this guy can afford a house for 20 million. He's doing something right. Like it impresses me. Look, we're looking at a condo in the Aquilina in Miami. LeBron has a place there. The average price there is $10 million. I have a buddy of mine who has a place there, and I'm walking in there. I'm like, it motivates you. Like when I go to Miami, that's how the whole thing kind of came to be with Florida. It motivated me. I would go there and I would stay at a hotel, whether the W or the Ritz or whatever the case is, and I see these like Phantoms, and I see these Lamborghinis, and I see these restaurants and this lifestyle. I'm like, I want this. I want to have this. How do I do this? I'm like, what do I know? I know real estate. I got to get my license. And finally, I'm like, I went for it. I got my license, and now I'm in it. I'm kind of enthralled in it. I'm not at that level. I'm way not in that, but I will be. And that's what I want to be. And I know that I will be. And if you know me, you know that if I set my mind to something, it will happen. And that's where I'm at. I mean, like I said, I never get complacent. It actually, like some people, when they get it to a certain level, like, okay, I'm good now. I want to kind of coast. I don't want to coast. I want to, like my one buddy goes, listen, why can't you just get like 30, 40 realtors under you and just chill, manage them? I'm like, I don't want to manage them. I want to sell. I want to be out and about. I don't, when I'm.
You want to be in the game.
Yeah. I'm, listen, this is not hard labor. I'm out there with like a sledgehammer. Like, this is negotiation. This is using your mind, your brain. We're trying to sell something. Why are you going to be more successful than you? Because we're better at it. Why are you better at it? Because of the tools we use. So this is one of the tools. So that's how you have to kind of navigate and get through the everyday.
What would you have to say to like a young guy, he's like 18, fresh out of high school, and he wants to get into real estate? How, like what do you think? What type of advice would you give him?
I would say pick a niche market. If you live in Bucks County, pick your development where you live and start bombarding it. Like you come in there, introduce yourself, knock on the doors, send postcards, mailers, make phone calls to say, listen, I'm in the business. Contact every person you know. Then they know you're in the business. And it's me. We were talking about it now. I still have to start doing it because I haven't done it enough. I need to start doing it. I need to go to my CRM and contact all my clients, all my friends, and make sure I continue to be in their face. This is something they need to do. What the old school practices is what they need to do to start themselves out. And that's how you get in. You get into a niche market. I'll never forget, I wanted to be in this one development called Northampton Hunt when I got into the business. You know Northampton Hunt?
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I wanted to be that development. I wanted to be the only guy that sells there. That was my dream. Like, how do I become so my Roman has me in his phone as the king of Northampton Hunt. I swear to God. So anytime I call him, the king of Northampton Hunt.
What about the development right next to it?
The reserve.
On the other
So
side.
that development, I sold more than 50% of the houses there when they started.
Wow.
Yeah, there was 40 houses there. They started in 990s, and I remember 20 houses I sold, and I had a couple of resales there. So I was the one that sold. Toll Brothers gave us an exclusive, which they don't give to anybody because we sold so many houses there. But what I was getting at is I used to hit that development religiously every month with mailers, and I still do to this day. Like 20 years later, because they need to make sure that you are relevant. So once you stop, another agent is going to come in there and start sending brochures or doing whatever they're doing, and you're going to lose your exposure. So pick a few developments, areas, and just hit them religiously for a year, and eventually they will call you. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take. So
where did you get all this information from? How would you say someone starting out, like I said, how would they know to do all these things?
It's trial and error for me. My dad.
Is he your mentor?
He's my mentor, yeah, to this day. Listen, he's old school. He used to take a piece of paper, print it out, say sold, your neighbor sold by Vladimir Bograd, and he used to put them in mailboxes. It wasn't illegal, but he was putting in mailboxes, and he used to get listings like that. He used to when I got into business, I used to walk around when I was taking the kids for the twins were in the not the cradle, the stroller.
Yeah.
And I used to have used to go to print it out of my printer at home, 50, 60 brochures, and I used to put them in mailboxes, in the thing, on the side, whatever, and I used to do all that stuff. Listen, you gotta do something. If you're sitting back and waiting for the phone to ring, it's not gonna happen. You need to constantly think outside the box.
People don't think about those things go when you're on a stroll, when you're strolling your kids around, just go slip some things in people's mailbox. No one thinks about that. I'm always thinking about how
I have business cards on me all the time. I have business cards in Florida in the elevators. I'm talking to people. Here's my card. I have these postcards that I made that are always around me in the car. If you're thinking about selling, contact me. Really nice ones, black and white with my signature on them. We're always on. Sometimes I feel like I'm not on enough, but we're always on in some capacity, and that's what I try to teach the team, teach my kids. There is somebody that's chomping at the bits to take you out. Whether they want to do it vindictively, or they want to do it because they want to be where you are, or they just want to be successful. They're going to do it. Eventually, I'm not going to be here, and somebody's going to be here and higher. So while I'm here, and while I can still push, I'm going to push.
Yeah, that's just what you gotta do. That's like your father with what he did in the postcards. That's the type of shit it takes. You really gotta put in that work.
This is the 21st century of postcards in the mailboxes. You know, the social media, the content, the creation. I mean, it's a different time, man. This is a different time. Like, everybody's doing the same thing. Even the content. I'm seeing videos, people are doing the same things. Maybe they don't have the videographer with them like I do, because I'm constantly trying to. But that's why this is just a small part of it. The next step is, what is the next step? How can we, I want to totally make that gap longer and longer, so there's no competition.
Yeah, it's funny too, because like young people in this generation, they're trying to get as rich as they quick, as fast as they can, with like as minimal work
There's nothing
possible.
wrong with that. You can work smart and make a lot of money and not have to work anymore. I haven't figured that out yet. I have friends that have sold their companies and made beaucoup bucks, and they sit back and they're doing stuff on the side, and God bless them. If I had the mind to do that, we wouldn't be talking right now. I mean, we'd be talking about a different subject right now. But I this is what I do. This is what I know. This is what I've, slowly achieved. And, between this and real estate investment, that's all I pretty much know what I do. So that's all I can teach or, advise on.
From what I can hear, you keep saying you're not doing anything enough. And
No.
that can all come, I get that exact same feeling. I can tell you're just a dog. You just want to constantly, I feel like you're scared of
I'm scared.
You're scared of being stagnant. I can tell. I have that same
Yeah,
mentality.
I am.
So I struggle with this idea of when to just let it go, when to stop. Do you have any plans on that?
When I stop,
Obviously,
I don't think I can stop when I'm with my family. Like, we were in Miami for Thanksgiving. The first couple of days I was working. I met with the team and we looked at some properties. I showed some properties. I closed a couple deals. But I was there with the kids for the most part. I tried to be like 100% with them mentally, turn the phone off at dinner, to be with them, immersed in them on the beach and having catches and swimming. But it's hard because I'm not in a 9 to 5 business where I go to work at 9, I come home at 5, the phone's off, my phone's ringing all the time. And again, and I'm guilty of it too. I'm on social media, I'm checking to make sure all the videos, what the analytics are doing, how they're performing. I'm doing that too. Can I do that later at night when the kids go to bed? I can. Can I turn myself off? I can. But I yell at them because the phones are on during the dinner, but we stop that. We're trying to stop no phones at dinner, no phones at the meal, no phones at breakfast, so we can at least communicate. Like, it's refreshing to have a conversation like this without the phone being in their face.
I think that's a practice every single family should do from now on. Like, the phones are like literally cancer.
It is, and it's hard to get them to put them down because my little one's on TikTok. My twins are on TikTok. They're watching this. They're watching YouTube. They're interested in it. My son's like immersed in fantasy football. All he talks about is football. This, football. So it's 24/7. I mean, I'm with you. I'm guilty of it too because I'm on my phone all the time. Like, that's just the way it is. And I'm guilty. And I start yelling at them. I'm like, I see your phone's off. But I'm guilty of it too. So there has to be a common median. And I try to do it. My wife will say I'm not doing it enough, but we're trying to instill that you need to have the phone, and then you have to have some personal time with your family as well.
Yeah, that's something our grandmother does. Is every time we bring our phones at the dinner table, she yells at us, and I'm honestly grateful for it. I need to be better. I need to not pull it out in the first place, but
she didn't grow up with phones at the table.
She didn't know what the fuck. If I bet her parents would have done the same shit. Probably would have slapped the fuck out of her.
Yep, that's how it is.
You wanna. You see 15 years, my kids just turned 15. Like, I wish I would have spent more time. We spend a lot of time together. Like, I try to make it a point, like I said, as much time as I can. But I wish I would, been more vigilant about, guys' phones off, more personal time. Like, it's important. It's important. So I'm learning now.
It takes that connection to that next level.
Yeah, of course. We thank God we have a very close-knit family. But you can never be too close.
True.
It's like David Goggins.
Yeah.
So like what you were saying, like when you're with your family, it's like your time to like actually like rest, and it's like what he calls it, David Goggins, like his like checkpoints, like because he's like a dog, like he's always like going after it.
Right.
But when he's like eating his food with like nothing, that's like when he gets to chill. Or when he's in the shower, that's when he gets to chill. Or when he's with his wife, that's when he gets to chill. That's like his checkpoints, or what he calls it. I think that's great.
Yeah, it's just using those checkpoints and doing. When I'm with my wife and I'm out for dinner and we're having like a date night, I want to be with her. The phone can ring, and if the call comes in, I want to sell my house or I want to talk to you or something. It's hard to tell a client, I'm with my wife right now, I'll call you later, because they're going to say, hey guys, he's too busy for us, or I guess I'm not important enough for him, I'm going to call somebody else. That's why I have to be on. Because if I get a call, I don't have a secretary that takes my calls. Like Marie's my assistant for every day, but I answer my own phone call. Like I don't have a secretary that says, "Oh, this is Joe's phone. Can I help you?" No, they all go to me because I pick up every call. Scam likely, because sometimes scam likely calls are legitimate. You don't know you don't know who's calling you. So my phone is constantly on. Whether it's 6 in the morning, I get calls. I mean, I got a call at 5:30. I'll never forget. I have a video of it maybe a year ago. Lady called me 5:30, thought she was gonna get my voicemail. I'm like, hello. She's like,
You got a video of it?
I have a video of me talking about it, and there's a whole thing that happened after the fact because the realtor tried like stealing the client from me. But she called me at 5:30, thought she was gonna get my voicemail. I got out of bed, I went downstairs, and I thought it was a prank because she had like an accent. So I want to sell my property in Upper Makefield for $2 million. Literally an hour and a half later, I was at her house, listed her property. No bullshit. She called me at 5:30, thought she was gonna get my voicemail. But if I didn't pick up the phone, and maybe I didn't pick up the phone at that moment in time, she would have got my voicemail. I wouldn't have got the message until maybe an hour later when I woke up, or an hour and a half. Maybe she would have been scrolling on, Zillow or whatever, found another realtor, called that realtor. I would have called her back. Oh, I'm getting back to you. Oh, it's too late. I already got somebody else. You never know. Like, this is the thing. This business is so, and I lost listings. I was in Italy with my family last July. The guy messaged me on Instagram around 1:30. He said, Joe, hey, it's Matt. We go to the gym together. You don't know me, but I want to sell my property, and I found another house. Can you get it? I'm like, yeah. I responded right away. I'll be up in the morning. It's like 1:30 in Italy. I'll get to you like first thing. I literally text Loretta. I'm like, listen, I need you to go tomorrow morning to this guy's house, blah, blah. At 7:30, I'm calling. He calls me back. He's like, Joe, we already went with another realtor. We couldn't wait. That's it. It's over. I mean, I can't anything. He's like, no hard feelings. I get it. He didn't want to wait for me. So that's a perfect example. You have to be.
It's always moving.
Yeah,
Because everybody's thinking about themselves and everybody
they
thinks
don't care
about
that I'm
their
in Italy.
progress.
They're like, oh, this guy's in Italy. Fuck him. I'm not waiting for Joe to get up in the morning.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, we have no issues, but you need to be on. And that's the perfect example. I will always be on because you never know when that call is going to come in.
Yeah, seize the opportunity when you get it.
100%.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, I've seen your videos. I was checking them out before we would see you.
Uh-huh.
Like a lot of different type of content. But there was one that, so correct me if I'm wrong. So
Okay.
a client, you went to sell their house, and then it turns out that somebody contacted your client and said they would sell their property, right?
Okay.
Kind of went behind your back or something like that. And then you called that person. She wasn't picking up for it. Like
Yeah,
a lot of times.
that's that story.
Yeah, that's the story.
That's
Yeah,
the
I know.
story. She called me 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
That's the seller. She basically, you want to know what happened?
Yeah, it's like then you called her and then you said, it's not a right thing to do. But how do you really differentiate like the competition than those stuff?
Well, just to
like,
give you
not
the
do?
quick synopsis of what happened with her is that this woman that called me 5:30 in the morning to sell her house, she bought that house about 6 months prior.
Yeah.
And she was relocated for work. She was a CEO of a big company. So she was relocated to work to Newtown. She ended up taking this job and being relocated back to Boston.
Yeah.
So she just bought the house 6 months ago for 1.8. Now she wants to sell it. So she called me to sell it. She found me on online, however the case is. So she called me. I listed the property, and right away I ended up using her pictures because my seller owned those pictures. She caught wind that I used her pictures. So this woman decided to go and knock on my seller's door. She was the realtor that sold her the house originally. Yeah. Asking her, and I didn't find out until Linda from my team was doing listing coordinating. She came, all my listings that I get, Linda goes out there, she goes there, she takes measurements, she writes the description, she meets the photographer, that's our process. So when she was there, the seller took her aside, she's like, don't tell Joe this, but the previous realtor was here, knocked on my door, and she was complaining why I gave Joe the listing. And if you're not happy with Joe, you can get a release and get Joe to give you the release, and I'll get the listing, and I'll help you sell it, and you don't need Joe, and this, that, and the other. They're totally dogging me. No idea who this person is. So Linda told me in confidence, don't say anything to her, please. She told me not to say. So I didn't say anything, but I went there that day just to oversee and make sure everything's okay before we put the property in the market, and I wanted to see if she would talk to me openly anyway. And she did. She took me aside. That's what the video is. She took me aside and she's like, Joe, I got to tell you something. What happened? There's all that drama. And she's like, I'm like, what happened? She's like, well, this realtor came here that had the listing. She's upset I didn't give her the listing. And she was bad-mouthing you that you're not going to sell it and that if you want to get a release. And she told me everything. So then I acted surprised that, oh my God, how dare. It's unethical. You don't do this kind of stuff. I have a listing contract with it. So then I called this agent 3 times and she didn't pick up. Finally, she picked up. I'm like, do you understand there's something called ethics in this business? And obviously you don't have it. Number one, I can put you in front of the real estate commission and get your license taken from you if I really want to go.
It's that serious?
It's that serious. If you have a contract with me to sell your house and all of a sudden you go to him and say, fuck Joe. Joe knows what he's doing. I'll get your house sold. Get a release, wrap up the contract, and basically he does that. That's grounds for me. Like I still, to this day, haven't gone to the real estate commission. I really can be a total dick and go there and say, listen, I want her license revoked. Like this, there's ethics, there's respect in this business. I would never do that to somebody. If I didn't get, listen, there's a lot of listings I didn't get. And if I went after every single seller and said, listen, why'd you give me the listing? Why'd you give it to me? First of all, you look like an asshole. Like, you look like immature.
And too desperate too.
You look desperate. Like, I'm like, okay, you didn't get it. I can't get every listing. I don't get every listing. Even to this day, I had a listing appointment last week that I thought was in the bag. I met the people at UVA in Richboro. We had dinner. The people ran into me. Like, Joe, we're going to call you tomorrow. I went to their house in the morning to list the property. He said, I'm going to get back to you. We're going to be this, that, and the other. It's an estate sale. That night, Joe, we're going to look under the realtor. I'm sorry. We already promised and we can't go back on our word. It is what it is. But I got upset. For a second, I'm like, listen, I thought I had it. It was a $1.9 million listing. I didn't get it. They gave it to another realtor. But listen, hopefully that realtor is successful and sells it. But if not, the way I handled it was, okay, I wish you the best of luck. No problem. If you need my help in the future, let me know. And if they don't sell it in 6 months or 3 months, they'll call me because they were not happy with the other realtor or they were not successful. But if I burn bridges and say, oh, F you didn't give me the listing, I don't want to talk to you, and get all nasty, then they're never going to use you. So you have to be smart. You have to, it was not happy, she wasn't happy that she lost the listing, but she could have handled it differently. Now, if I ever see her bring me an offer, I'm going to make her life difficult. If I ever see her, I'm going to make her life difficult, where we can be, good to each other. Realtors should work together. They shouldn't work against each other. And when agents go behind people's backs and, bitch and moan about not getting the listing and saying, I could do a better job, it's poor couth. It's poor, it's not right. So,
In your business, how do you increase your average customer lifetime?
I think for them to come back to you over and over again.
Is it just over?
I think, listen, if you think about it, most people move every 5 to 7 years.
Really?
That's the ratio, supposedly. I mean, I've been in my house for 15 or 16 years now, and I haven't moved yet. My parents haven't moved, my in-laws haven't moved, but most people, that's like the national average. If you continue to be in their face with constant contact or MailChimp, any of these CRMs, social media, nowadays, just texting. Like I was thinking to myself last night when I was going to bed, like, I swear, I need to start making it a point to like text one client every day or call a client every day. Just keep in touch. Like, hey, John, how you doing? Just wanted to reach out. Hope you're doing well. It's the holidays. I want to wish you, we had a great Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas. Just, hope the family's well. Just something as little as that. Like, Joe,
just remind yourself.
He cares, and he cares. Like, I reached out to all my clients via text that came to me. I have like probably a million text messages like, happy Thanksgiving, hope you had a great holiday, blah, blah. Like, oh, thanks for thinking of me. Like, oh, great, great to hear from you. Like, stuff like that. People like that. Like, it's a personal touch.
It builds trust too.
It builds trust. Like, one thing I remember like a year ago that we talked about in our team meeting, said I was going to invest in these like banners, like happy birthday banners. And every morning for the Bograd team, have one of these banners installed on previous clients on their front yard. Like I was thinking, like that'd be a great idea, like something that nobody does. Like happy birthday for the Bograd team, like a big banner that sits there for the morning. When they wake up, it's there. It's like a nice thing. But imagine, like remembering to do that. And if I, it's a good idea, but it's going to get expensive. It's going to be time consuming. But these ideas is what I have.
But then it's going to pay off.
100%, because like, my God, what person, let alone the realtor, is going to go to their way and have like a banner put in your front lawn,
right?
To wish you happy birthday or happy Thanksgiving, or happy whatever. Like that, it's just like these little things people appreciate, and that's what's what separates you, and that's what makes you a lifelong advisor to them, whether it's in real estate or anything else you're doing.
My dad, he does, I think 4 times a year, every season, he gives like a little gift, something small. Maybe it's a mug. He gave us last time like a calendar where he sends to every client. Do you have something like that?
You know what? I'll never forget. I went to a listing appointment about 3 or 4 years ago, and there was like all these calendars on this guy's refrigerator of different realtors. Eagles calendar, Phillies calendar, Flyers calendar, whatever. But guess what? He didn't call them to sell his house. He called me to sell his house. So, yeah, the calendars could potentially help, But I think these calendars, again, everybody has the prerogative of what they feel is that's your dad does a quarterly gift. That's amazing. I don't do any gifts. I do a gift of Clase Azul at settlement to my clients.
What is that?
That's Clase Azul. It's a tequila. I give my clients a bottle of tequila.
Isn't that
or-
shit
or-
like expensive?
Yeah, it's like a $200 bottle of tequila. So that's my thing. I give them a bottle of tequila or a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue or some sort of like a nice, or a basket with some sort of like a alcohol. That's like my thing. So, but I do that at settlement and that's it. I don't know what the right thing is to give. I feel like, us giving back at our events, the gala, client appreciation party, the Toys for Tots, the golf outing I do, those 5 or 6 events I do throughout the year are my ways of giving back, and kind of raises interest in what we do and how we do it. And that's our give back. But everybody has a different way of doing it. So I don't think there's a wrong way of doing it. That's just what works for them. Yeah.
Yeah, because you guys, when we went at the meeting, right, you, 3 of you, you all said it's about like selling yourself, especially you and Roman, because you guys are mostly in that like specific business where you sell stuff, that kind of stuff. And that makes a lot of sense, because people have to like you before they like your product, kind of thing.
And I think that's one thing that separates, I'm friends, I'd say 99% of the time, I end up being friends with my clients. Unless there's some sort of blowout, which doesn't really happen that often. Usually we will continue being friends like after the fact. Like a lot of my friends, a lot of my clients, we still go out for dinner with them. Go to dinner here, let's go grab a bite, let's go to a game, let's go here. We continue to be in their lives after they buy their house. It's not always about selling them something. It's just basically, my buddy Tom.
It's like helping them out pretty much.
Yeah, my buddy Tom Kelly, he's bought probably, a dozen houses through me in the last like 5 or 6 years. I met him when he was going through his divorce. He literally, my 45th birthday, we just did in Miami. He flew down with his fiance. We're like friends. We're going to go to dinner probably this week, next week rather. He doesn't have to always buy something. We just have a good relationship. He's guy's like 10 years older than me. He's a nice guy. We get along. We have a good, he likes my crew. We like him, and we're friends. So it's not always about having to sell them something. He thinks of me when he wants to sell and buy. That comes with the territory because we're friends. But it's not just about selling it. Just having a good circle around it.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Good.
Any final thoughts before we transition?
But what really motivated you to actually just get into real estate? I know you said your father was doing it and stuff like
I
that.
forgot.
What motivates you still now? You have this nice studio, you have a good team. It's
I don't think it's ever enough, man. I don't think it's ever enough because I win the lottery, win $100 million, $200 million, I don't think I'd ever be able to sit there and just kind of just be stagnant and wake up in the morning in Tahiti and
it's
go
boring,
swimming.
kind of.
You like the game.
I like the game, man.
Yeah.
I like the game, the negotiations. I have investment properties. And I like, buying properties. I like renovating them. We have a property we just finished in Warminster. We're going to put on the market on Sunday.
You just enjoy it.
I can't sit home. Even COVID killed me. I couldn't sit home. I didn't even know, my kids were there. My wife was there. It was great. But every morning I'd wake up in the morning. I'd still go work out, running outside. My buddy had his gym still open, so I was working out. Or I'd get a cup of coffee. My wife said, "Why do you have to go to Starbucks for coffee?" I'm like, I can't be home. I have to be out and about. I have to be there. So I would go out every morning, even during COVID, just to do something, just to work out. I was putting brochures during COVID. I was doing different things. But what got me into it, I guess, I always liked sales. Listen, I went to military school for 5 years. I was selling watches in military school. My uncle got his fair share of fake Rolexes and Tag Heuers. And I remember I sold a couple for $50, $100 a pop to a couple guys in my school. And they
And how much did you buy it for?
I think 10. The margins were great.
Yeah, that's great.
I think I was buying 10 for $90. I think that was the deal. Damn. And I was selling for $100 a clip with 50.
That's crazy.
I forgot. But I remember I was known at school as those selling Rolexes. A couple of my buddies still have them to this day. They still have them somewhere in there. But I was always into sales and doing something with I was always organizing things and trying to make money. So I just kind of came with the territory. So I was in Valley Forge and I was finishing up and I went to Penn State. And my dad's like, "What are you gonna do?" Because I was not the college material. There's some people that shouldn't go to college.
I agree.
There's There's some people that, like,
It doesn't work for you.
I didn't finish college. I didn't. I mean, I went to Penn State, I went to Temple, I went to Valley Forge. I didn't finish college, but I was able to achieve a lot of things. Do I regret not going to college? I feel like I lost some tools that I could have, maybe I should have done more accounting. I could be better at accounting in regard to, like, itemizing things and whatnot.
You can't pay attention.
Yeah, but I mean, it's certain tools that I probably should have learned or should have paid more attention to that I regret. But ultimately, when I was in 2000, and I'm like, I don't want to be in college anymore, and I'm like, I got to finish it out because I think I want to go to law school. I want to be an attorney. I thought for a second, and he's like, go into real estate. He's like, I'll help you. I'll kind of point you in the right direction. You already know the gist of it because I was around it 24/7, from an early age. So like, fuck it, let's do it. And I got my license, and that was it. I had a partner, and we started killing it. We started marketing and advertising, and there was no social media back then, but we started getting the word out. And it was hard because nobody knew who I was. I was a young kid, 21 years old. Who is this kid? But you have to show people you know what you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Act as if, if you watch Boiler Room, act as if you know what you're doing. And I knew it, but I didn't know it enough. And confidence is key.
Blue Clue?
Huh?
You say Blue Clue?
No, Boiler Room.
Oh.
What is that?
Oh, the kids show, the Blue Clue?
No, my kids watch that too. This is
Blue's Clues?
Yeah,
Blue's Clues, that was...
that wasn't the show.
I was also going to tell you, how is it like with your kids, like teaching? Are you planning on teaching them as very young as, like you said, your son's 15? I think that's already a pretty good age for you to
I think your son
get him
goes
into
to
the
school
game.
with my little brother. He's 15 as well. Or he's like 14.
What's your last name?
He doesn't have the same last name.
Oh, what's his last name?
He's like Howard. I don't know. He probably probably doesn't know.
At Council Rock?
Yeah, Council Rock's out.
Maybe they do. They probably do.
Ronnie's last name?
Because I mentioned.
What's his name? Ryan Howard?
Ronnie.
Ronnie Howard?
Yeah, but yeah.
He probably does know.
Because this morning I mentioned to my stepmother, I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna go to this guy's office, Joe Bograd."
Yeah, you got it.
And then I had to look at the side real quick. I thought it was like Bograd, like
It's Bograd with a D.
Yeah.
Some people think it's Bogard, so.
I was gonna say Bogard by accident, but and she was telling me, "Oh, Ronnie goes to school," just like, but I don't think they're friends though. But I just wanted
It's
to
a big
mention
school,
that.
but my son is like, he's. I would love for them to get into real estate. I think my little one is me to a T. My 10-year-old, she's always negotiating. She's hustling. She's persistent. She's relentless. She doesn't give up, and that's how I am. My mom says she's you to a T. So I think she's going to be that salesman. But my son Michael, he definitely has the charisma. He's very sweet. I think he's very, he's easy to persuade. He can persuade somebody pretty simply. He has that way about him. And my daughter Ava, she's very into designing, and I feel like she's like, Dad, when you're gonna move to Florida, when you're gonna open up in Florida, I'm gonna be your designer. I'm gonna help you design all the condos, and I'll do the interior designing. So I think they definitely could potentially get into that field.
Yeah.
But we'll see if they want to. I mean, they got a few years. I think if one of them go to school in Florida, it's going to make my life a lot easier to make that transition. But it's about what they want to do. I mean, I don't know. They're very school oriented. My twins. My little one, we'll see what happens with her. But if they just have to go to school in Florida, I think I could definitely kind of push them into the field. And if they decide to, they haven't expressed any interest of saying, Dad, I want to go into real estate. But I think once they start making their college choices and what they want to major in, maybe at that point they'll have a better idea of what they want to do. So we'll see.
You're going through something very similar to my dad, where you want to be in Florida simply because you can't. It's Florida.
Yeah.
The money, it's a desert. It's
Everything.
beautiful. So how are you going to make that decision with your kids? Are you going to, what my dad originally said, he's going to wait out till my half brother turns 18.
Well, that's the play.
Here he is now.
Well, that's the play. Is that the play is if I were to move there full time, it'd have to be when the kids finish school. Okay. I would never pull them out of school. But I think what I have right now, I actually like it a lot. I like the fact that I can go back and forth. Tuesday, I'm going to fly in for the morning, shoot all day, have a property listing, do some content, do an open house. I'm going to fly back that night. And then I might even fly back in that following Thursday because we're going to go to Art Basel in Miami. It's a festival, and it's a whole big party scene. There's a lot of good people to meet in Florida, and it's very well-to-do, high-end crowd. But I think right now, I like the fact that I can fly in for 3-4 days, do some business, fly home. Fly in for 3-4 days, vacation, hang out. work a little bit too and fly home. So I'm okay with the way things are now. I don't need to be there full time. I think until I can, financially afford to just, say, here are the keys to members of my team. You guys run shit. I'm going to be in Florida full time. And I don't think I want to do that. I think I want to be here a couple days, there 5 days. Here 5 days, there a couple days. I want to go back and forth. And I think that's
being in one place gets boring too.
It does. We were in Florida for Thanksgiving for 8 days. Granted, I worked for the first 2. Like I was working all day with the team. And the next 6, I was just literally like vegging out by the ocean, by the pool. We went golfing. I did some, it got a little redundant. Like I can't sit there and I got to look at condos and beautiful houses and I did some work. But I mean, you need you need a change from monotony. Exactly. Because you go nuts.
Especially if you're used to going back and forth.
Yeah, I like the whole back and forth. I like looking forward to leaving. Like Tuesday, I can't wait to leave. I can't wait to see this house. I haven't seen it. I already listed this house for $4.5 million. I haven't seen it in person yet. Yeah. So I'm excited to see it, market it, do some video shooting, do the open house, and then I'm going to fly back that night. And then I'm going to fly back on Thursday. So I like the whole travel, hustle, bustle. I like getting everything on video, how we're doing it, what we're doing. I mean, it's cool to...
I think it's a very good content. It's very raw.
It's good content, and you get to... I mean, not many people can say that they're selling properties in Florida from Philly, and and getting, hopefully, big listings, and the whole back and forth, and how we got it. Like, people want to see, like you said, the whole background of how things came to be. So that's why I think this would be good. And better than the whole traveling is better than just being there in one place.
Yep.
So.
Oh, what a great episode.
Let's do.
Do you guys still have any questions?
No, it's really good.
Okay.
We're gonna wrap it up.
What would be like your closing statement for the audience?
My closing statement?
Oh yeah, the 5 questions too. Yeah, we have 5.
Okay, yeah.
We have 5 questions for every guest at the end of the episode, and 1 following question from a previous guest, and you're also going to ask a question for the next guest.
Okay.
They're really quick too. They're
Yeah.
quick questions.
Yeah. Okay.
So what is your best advice to somebody in life?
My best advice to somebody in regard to getting into the business or just in
Anything,
general?
life, general.
Anything.
Life.
I guess don't get comfortable. And I mean, actually, no. I think spend as much time with your family as possible. I think
That's sweet.
I think that's I think more important than anything. I think I made it a point when I got into the business. I mean, when the kids were born, that I was going to make time for them. I wish I made more time for them, but I did put a lot of time in, and I still do. I make it a point to have dinner with them every night. Like I don't miss a night with them. On the weekends, they go out, so it's hard to do that. But during the week, like I have dinner with them every single night. That's our thing. We try to turn the phones off, but we have dinner every night. Even on Tuesdays when I play cards, I'll have dinner with them. Even though we eat at our card game, I'll have dinner with them, and then I'll go to my card game. But unless I have an appointment that I really cannot juggle around, I usually make my appointments around dinner with my family, and then I go after the night for work, whatever the case is. Make time for your family. You can't go backwards. You're gonna regret it, because they grow up so fast. You guys, to you, it's like a whole different. Like, what are you talking about?
We would have to know when we have
but
kids.
you're gonna see, because when you're gonna have your own family, and you're gonna see, like, it goes fast, man. It goes really, really fast. Like, I started playing cards with my guys when I was at 28 when I bought my house, and all these guys were like in their mid 30s, 40s, 45, and I'm looking at them like, what are you guys talking about? Like, relax, they're beautiful. And now I'm their age, and I'm like, damn, man, it goes really fast.
Yeah.
So make time for your family.
I think that's a good advice.
Yeah.
What is that keeps you going personally? What is your drive?
My drive? Money.
Really?
I mean, listen, money. I mean, if anybody tells you it's not money, they're full of shit. Money obviously makes, buys you the things you want, gets you the things you want, takes care of your family, takes care of you every day. Without money, you're going to be happy, but I think that if you want to, what drives me is obviously being able to fulfill and live my lifestyle. And without that, green, you can't do it. So I think
sense.
Money definitely drives me, and obviously success that drives you.
Nice. What do you value the most in a person?
Loyalty.
Loyalty.
If you're loyal to me, I'm loyal to you to the end. You fuck me, you're dead to me.
Yeah, I think it is a strong feature. Yeah.
That's in a nutshell. Anybody who knows me, they'll tell me I'm loyal to you to the end. If you're loyal to me, I'll do whatever with you. But you screw me once, and you're done.
And you lose the trust. You just can't
It's
get
not.
it back.
It's not
very
even.
hard.
There's not even anything going back. It is done. Like I promise you, and anybody that knows me, my good friends, my team members, my work, you fuck me, you deceive me, you're not loyal to me,
Yeah.
you're dead. To me, you're dead. That's it.
Wow, that's very strong.
Yeah.
That's fair, yeah.
What is one thing that you notice that people struggle with in society, and especially as a whole, and individuals too? And how do you think you can overcome that problem?
I think people struggle with being liked and being accepted, being part of the crowd. And I do not like. I've never been part of the crowd. I always wanted to always be my own person, and not call it sheep.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be a sheep. I wanted to always be my own person. That's why when I got to this industry, I wanted to branch out and do something that nobody else ever did. I didn't want to be the typical realtor that, you know, like I told you earlier in our podcast, that does the same thing as everybody else. I wanted to do things differently. And to this day, I try to instill in my kids and my team members and myself, you know, you have to do things outside the box. And I feel if you're the same as everybody else, you're just going to be looked over and you'll just be another regular Joe.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Just right.
I think that's very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is something negative that you hear from people that you just completely disagree with?
About me?
Well, anything that's like negative, like something that's negative that you hear from people. It doesn't have to be
people say
to you, but it just has to be like around you, maybe.
I think people are a lot of people are just mean. I just see a lot of people are angry in the world, man. You know, listen, I can get angry very infrequently. It's a lot to get me pissed or angry, but a lot of like anger in the world. And I
just can't control their emotions.
Yeah, I mean, you see what's going on right around Israel, and it's saddening. It really hurts, and I get emotional even talking about it because of what happened to these hostages and the people that were murdered and massacred.
Yeah, that's the worst part, to be honest.
But I think there's just a lot of anger in the world, and I wish there was a way to, you know, just
more love, right?
more love, man, and just enjoy life. It's so short.
Exactly.
Life is so short that, you know, people that sit there and dwell on all the issues in the world, just enjoy it. You know, be good to people, be good to your family, spend time with them. You know, bust your ass. You know, work like hell. You know, it's you live once, man. Just, you know, put things into perspective. There's no reason to have anger. Just, you know, be good to people, and I feel, you know, it'll come back to you tenfold.
You're right. I feel like if people really sat down and, you know, like ask themselves this question, what they really have in common with others rather than something that's separate, they will find more reasons, because I feel like we have more in common than something to, you know, be fighting for.
I 100% agree, but I think it's so much past that at this point.
Yeah.
That there's so much hate and there's so much bloodshed that it only has to end one way. But that's time for a different
it's the
discussion.
power, yeah.
A meteor?
Actually, I have one more question. With everything that you've accomplished with your goals, like, what is your next big goal that you're really going after?
My next big goal. Wow. So last few years, we've been the #1 team in Pennsylvania, consistently. ReMax team. We've been number 5, I think, in the country. I want to get to #1 in the country. Obviously, that is a big goal. But I want to be as successful as I am now for the foreseeable future. I don't want to ever drop. You know, like I said, I don't want to get too complacent. I don't ever want to get comfortable. I want to constantly always know that I'm always striving for more.
Yeah.
Whether it's now Florida, I want to get to a certain level in Florida. In Jersey, maybe, you know, we take on a different area altogether. I want to build my team. I want to build, you know, make our family stronger, our team stronger, our presence stronger. It's always about building and shooting for more. You never get complacent. And that's
Growing big.
Yeah, go big.
Yeah.
Go big. You gotta be going big.
Let's get a quote. What is it? No, it wasn't Lance's, it was Brad's.
Brad's.
Yeah. Brad's was, what do you love about life?
What do I love about life? I think everything, man. I think everything. I don't.
You love life.
Yeah, really.
You know, how can you not love life? I mean, it's you're breathing. You're here. You know, you can do.
You have the
anything else.
opportunity
You have the
to
opportunity.
do anything.
And you're living in America, which is the land of opportunity,
Right,
so to speak. I mean, why not love it? You can do anything you want to. I mean, you guys have a podcast. You're in college. You know, I never thought in a million years that I would achieve, this, let alone, being interviewed by, a few great kids about
Thank
what
you.
I'm doing. I don't consider myself anything more than just somebody in the real estate industry that, busts his ass and, we do good at what we do. And I think if that speaks volumes to listeners and viewers and subscribers, and that's great if I can help. I mean, I get messages all day from individuals. Oh, can you mentor me? Look, guys? I'm always like, people text me. I respond to them. Like I'm a regular.
Yeah.
Every
no,
day.
I did notice that. Like when I would text you, I think the response was just quick.
Yeah,
and
I'm
very
always,
open.
Like
and
I'm telling you, my
it
phone's
was just
always on me. So I mean, unless I'm like, I don't know who it is, and I'll ask you who is this, and I'll respond, and you'll always get me. I'm never too busy, and that's one of my flaws. That I'm never gonna I'm gonna be sitting there and I'll be getting a text and I'm like talking to some of the guys who will only respond. Like I'm always responding. Like even now, this is like surprising. Like because I'm on camera and I'm talking to you guys,
Right.
I'd be like responding to these people right away there. And if it's somebody that knows, like, why the fuck is he not responding? What's going on? Like so, but I'm always responsive and that's the way I'm always going to be. I'm always available.
I think that's great. Yeah.
So what question would you ask the next guest? You have no idea who it is.
Oh my God! What a next guest.
You writing it down?
I don't have my phone on me.
Okay.
What question would I ask the next guest? You gotta stop me. I don't know.
It's not an easy question, huh?
No. Maybe it would help if I knew who the guest was, but you won't tell me that, will you?
No. Sorry.
It could really just be anything.
But our niche is self-improvement and,
No, it doesn't matter. Question could be anything.
You can
you
throw
can
a curveball at it. You can throw anything. What's your deepest, darkest secret? I don't know.
ooh, I don't know if they would be open to that.
I guess the question would be, like, how do you stay, for a successful person, there's a lot of, like we talked about before, there's a lot of people that are always trying to bring you down and trying to beat you, or how do you stay in the same position that you're in today and stay on top? And I'm assuming the person that you are interviewing
Still in competition, pretty much, right?
Yeah. So I mean, that would be a question. How do you stay on top in your present position and
With everything that's trying to bring you down, or
Yeah.
get in your way.
I think that'd be good.
How do you stay
Yeah, I
on
think
top
that is a
of
good-
everything that brings you down?
Yeah. Or not even that. Maybe just how do you continue to excel in life, in business, and in family?
When something doesn't go your way.
No, how do you continue to excel despite all the unforeseen circumstances?
Bringing you down,
Right,
correct?
yeah.
Yeah, something like that effect. Yeah, that'd be a good.
Good.
question.
Yeah,
Great.
That one stumped you.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of stumped me, but
Yeah.
that'd be a good question to ask somebody.
All right, you write it down.
Yeah.
So let's get.
Oh, yeah.
So we always get our guest
Guest.
to write.
See this?
It's not. You can see it's QOFT. Do you have any idea what that stands for?
This guy.
Code of the day.
What was an F?
Yeah, there's an F.
Quote of the fucking day.
There
Ooh, let's go. Yo, I was actually surprised you got
All right.
that.
So
Nice.
is that, I have to give you guys my quote.
Oh,
You have to read this one.
You have to break down before you can break through. Marilyn Ferguson.
Yep.
Yeah, nice.
That was our quote of the day for the audience today.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And then shout out Mike. You're just right
You
there.
want me to read it?
Yeah.
Shout out. I think it's also important to remember that success is not always about money or fame. It can also be about making a difference in the world or achieving your own personal goals. If you're passionate about something and you're willing to work hard, then you can achieve success no matter what your age. Todd.Westra. Thank you
Yep.
so much. That's actually really thoughtful. Then what do you think about that?
It definitely is.
Facts?
It's heartfelt. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is heartful. Now we appreciate you saying that.
Yeah. It's the little things that matter.
And it is a
Yeah.
big text, so thank you for putting your time aside and giving us this text.
Yeah.
I'll give you guys a quote that my colonel, when I was in military school, used to say this all the time.
We'll have it for the next episode. I'm gonna write it
Yeah.
down real quick.
And it's your actions speak so loudly, I can't hear you.
Oh.
Oh, I fucking love that
Yeah.
shit.
So that was something that he always said to us. I was in military school for 5 years, and that was something that I'll never forget. He definitely was like a father figure. We
What's
still to this day keep in touch with him.
What's his name?
Colonel Danny James.
That's good. I'm always, I mean, yeah, our words are so powerful, but there's
Colonel
nothing.
Danny.
There's nothing
Danny
bigger than
James,
action at the end of the day.
James.
Yeah. Danny James, Jaynes. Yeah.
You could say everything you want right now, but if you weren't where you are right now,
It's all your actions, my man.
Yeah.
It's all your
I
actions.
love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Your actions don't lie.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
my motivational style. I don't talk people into. Like,
Yeah.
I love
You do
motivational
it.
speeches. I'd rather fucking show them how it's done, and that's a leader.
Yeah.
I can tell.
It is.
That's how you lead your team. You fucking excel.
Listen,
This,
I hope I try to. Sometimes the team needs I feel
Communication.
Like I don't think I do enough. Sometimes, like you want to lead them. Sometimes you can't say what you want to say, but hopefully by my actions, they see what I do, how I do it. Hopefully they learn from me, and they're able to implement what they see that I do, and it kind of works its way out. But you can only do so much.
That's true. That's true.
Great.
Yeah.
Good episode.
Alright.
Thank you for being on.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Um,
I appreciate it.
And then it was.
Where can I watch this episode?
On YouTube.
On
On
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah,
At
when we release it, we'll let
BrosThinkBig
you know.
on YouTube.
At BrosThinkBig. And actually, if the audience does want to reach you, what is your tagline? Obviously, we'll leave it in the
So-
description, but
Hashtag Bograd Experience on Instagram, Joe Bograd on YouTube, Joseph Bograd on Facebook, Joseph Bograd on LinkedIn, Joe
shout you out all
Bograd, yeah, Joe Bograd on TikTok, josephbograd.com is my website.
I got
So,
a whole website. Okay.
Yeah, so we have a lot of avenues to contact and anybody from the team or myself for that matter.
Check him out, guys. He's a
Yes.
great person.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate
We got
it.
one line. We always
Yes.
finish.
Uh-huh.
It's think big, grow big. 3, 2, 1.
Think
big,
Big,
grow
grow
big.
big.